Hello YouTube, this is BUB'S Comics coming at you. I am going to be doing a quick comic kind of repair video here. This is just going to be quick. The idea is that this is the kind of the process that I go through when I get a new book. So I'll show you the new book that I received, and then I'll show you kind of my ideas behind why I picked it out at the price, and then what I think I can do for it. So let me go ahead and show you the book. I'll show you like this because the camera's already set down for the repair work. So this is the book that I received. It's Planet Comics number 44. This is a book that I've been after for some time. It's not that it's not available. Actually, this book for a long time was one of the most readily available Planet Comics issues out there. So that's kind of odd because you say, well, Bub, why did it take you so long to get one? Well, because I was looking for a very specific book and I finally found it. And that is that I was looking for one that had all the detail I was looking for in the cover and still be very presentable and yet have enough defects and flaws that I could get it cheaply. Now, this book had been selling for anywhere around $60 to $100 for years. This book was available at $60 to $100 in all kinds of grades and conditions. But the ones that were under 100 always seemed to have some major rip or tear out of the cover. So let me show you what I mean by details I was looking for. So if you see up here in the top, there are multiple women or a woman each in these bubbles. And often that was cut off in many of the other issues that I looked at in that price range. See over there, there's another one. Also, this fella down here was often ripped or the writing was missing. And you can see there's some damage on this one for sure. Or actually, now I love Bonnet's Bookstore in Ohio, and I love Bonnet Book Stamps, and they had a copy of this available for a long time. Bonnet book stamps are like this big, and it was that big across the very front. It was just too obstructive to the art, and so usually that guy's like missing some of his tentacles or ripped off. You can't really see it. So I was really looking for a specific condition of this book for it to have problems but still have as much completeness in the art as possible. And so I finally found it, and I'm lucky that I got it for the price that I did, considering that this book has about doubled in price in the last year. For whatever reason, it finally took off. This book was available forever, all over the place for cheap, and then finally it raised up. So let's go ahead and open this. I bought this as a supposed 1.5 is what the grade should have been. I think I can get it up to almost a 2. But the presentability will be much, much better. So let's take a look, see what we've got here. It's double bagged, so you gotta wrap it twice. All right, so let's see what we got. No, of course, sometimes the trickiest thing is just getting through that nasty tape they put on there. All right. Now we don't have to be too careful with it, but we also don't want to lose any parts. So I take it out with board and all. I can see right away that there's quite a bit of ripping and damage here. So let's go ahead and make me small and kind of get to the haul, but we'll get down to the table here and take a look. So let's see if that works for everybody. And let's go ahead and move me. Whoa, look at the magic of YouTube. Woohoo! All right, so we moved me up a little bit. So now it looks, hey, look at this. All right, so why don't we move me over here? There you go. All right, so that'll work. So here's what we've got going on here. We've got Planet Comics. You can see already, big old rip right there. Not the lady, the comic. All right. So a couple of things I'm a little concerned about is that the page quality, it's not brittle, but it's close. So that concerns me a little bit. So when I was looking at the listing, I could tell that there was a rip there. I could tell that that was ripped. And I could tell also at the top edge that it was misaligned. So that's good because that means that this is a spine roll that I should be able to work out. And exactly as I suspected. So that's actually very good. I'm very pleased with that because old Bubsy is doing just fine with spine rolls. So when I'm done, you'll be able to see just the art on that, and this spine roll will be totally gone. So that'll be good. You see that big tear there, so we'll fix that. And then I was hoping this was grease pencil. I still kind of think it is, but it's really deep and really dug in there. So I may have a little bit of difficulty getting that out and restoring and keeping the color behind it. Also, the gloss, as I touch the book, totally gone. So there's no gloss on this book. So if I do any kind of removal, I have to be very careful because it's likely to take color off as I go. So just things to be aware of. I can feel that at some point it did have water damage. So this book's had it rough. We're gonna make it look a little prettier. Let's get to work. So usually the first thing I'll do is fortified tears, because those are the things that just get worse if you don't fix them right away. Cover is attached, hanging on pretty strong at both staples. There's a little bit of a rip on this one, and the staples are rusty. I'm just gonna leave those as they are. They're not gonna get too much more rusty in my lifetime. I will fix all of these corners so that they are flipped out when I press it. So it's not too big of an issue right now, but things like that concern me only because of the potential for them ripping off and snapping from being so dry and brittle. So we're just gonna take a look and see how they bend back. So far, so good. I don't do it all the way, but right before I press it, I'll run a board through it and make sure that they're all straight before I give it its final pressing. So you can see, it looks like all the pages are intact. Oh yeah, this one double folded over, so that one was totally intact all the way to the corner. So that's fantastic. Now let's take a look at this gnarly corner here. Look at that. That is rough. So let's take a look at that corner, see what we can do for it. We'll move a little quicker. We'll get that out. That out. Looks like, man, that is in there. Sometimes I do use a knife just to get a little leverage in there. Mostly the dull, like I'm not using a razor blade or anything. So it looks to me like that has a little bit of tape on it. So it looks like at some point someone tried to tape it, but it didn't hold. So that's fine. And my hope was that the entirety of the art is there. And I do believe it is. So that's good. So the whole art is there. Yay! All right, so that was the hope. So we'll be taping that up, getting that ready. So that's a big win right there. So I won't do much more with it right now, but that's a win. We'll tape it up in a minute. Just trying to evaluate what can be fixed and what can't be fixed. This looks like the rip is on the top. Very interesting. Still fully attached. So what we'll do is we'll take a little bit of tape from the inside, from inside the cover, and then it flips up over itself there. So he's trying to get like the over-under on it, you know? And it does look like this incurred a little bit of water damage as well. So it's a little wrinkled like right here. So what that is doing is it is causing this top part to be perfectly aligned, but do you see that white that's developing over there? That's because it's wrinkled here, and so it's not straight, and so it's not meeting. So we'll gently try and pull that taut as we apply the tape and try and get that to stick. And then also, let's do a quick test on this little bit of what I think might be grease pencil. It is very deep in there, very deep grooves. So let's first try and just take off a little. I'm going to work on the yellow portion because I'll be able to tell if color's lifting off that very easily. And we'll see. So make sure you guys can see that. I'm going to work on that part right there. And see, just gently kind of Rub it in one direction. I know it looks like I'm doing back and forth, but I'm just moving closely to it, and I'm rubbing it in just in one direction. And then when they're this deep, I will usually run along the trench, if you will, of it to get any little edges that might still be there cleaned up. Not really applying hardly any pressure at all, just gently going over it. We're not necessarily trying to get it completely cleaned off because I do believe this will take some color. Doesn't look like I've got any color off on the eraser. It's nice to use white erasers so you can see that. So you can see that that pretty much came off. And so now I can feel confident to do a little bit of the orange. Again, this book has had some water damage, so I can feel the cover kind of raising up. So I got to be real careful because, I mean, it would just love to rip. That would just make its day. If it could give a nice big rip in the middle of me doing this, it would just love it. And you also don't want to go too deep because you'll end up taking up a bunch of that orange. We definitely don't want that. So we'll be working on that. It's already starting to come lighter, and that takes a while. So anyway, that's what we'll be doing in this book. A little bit of tape here, tape there. Gonna finish erasing that, and then we'll do the spine roll. That's what we're gonna do this book. So there's your quick answer on that, and I'll finish up this work. You guys have seen me doing this before. I'll finish up this work. We'll do a little time lapse, and we'll come back after the book is pressed. And I won't be wearing this because it's going to be sitting in the press overnight to make sure it's nice and clean for you and slick. And then we'll bring it back to you and tell me how I did. Well, maybe we'll throw in some of that Mylar magic too. All right, catch you on the flip. Thanks. Bye. And we're back. So here we are. We're looking at this Planet Comics 44. It's been pressed. It's been lightly cleaned. So let me tell you what happened real quick. I was working on the spine roll on this. I didn't get it all the way out. And I thought about pressing it again for a second time. And I said, you know what? I better not, because pages get brittle. These older books, if you're going to press them multiple times, I like to give them a little bit of time in between to relax, get the paper, especially the interior pages, to relax. Sometimes you can end up splitting the pages all the way through. So I wanted to make sure that I had plenty of time to be okay. Plus, all these books I'm sending in for grading, all my Planet Comics run is going to CGC for grading, so I can participate in the census, well, not the census, the registry. Which I'm trying to climb the ranks in the Planet Comics registry on CGC. So because of that, I didn't get the spine roll all the way out, but that's okay, because next time it will get pressed again, and it'll get pressed again before I send it to CGC. And when I do it on that pressing, I'll work on the spine roll a little bit closer and try and get it a little closer to the edge. But as you saw before, it was big. It was pretty wide. So this is what we got now. All right, let's make me small. Here we go. And there she is in all its Mylar magic glory. As you can see, most of that little check mark or whatever it was over the P and the L is gone. I didn't get deep into it because I didn't want to lose too much color. I did. There's a small piece there that was part of the rip here that chipped away, so there's a little bit lost there. You can see I tried to match up these rips as close as I could to recreate the November 44, or number 44 rather, cleanly. You can see all the girls survived. It's super flat. And look at how this corner turned out. Really nice. You can't even really tell that it was ever damaged or ripped or taken apart. That took a while to get just right, to get all the pieces right where they were or where they should have been and lined up. So that took quite a while. So you can see the spine roll is almost totally out, but the staples are still on top. I like them to be on the side, and there's still a little bit of room, even though you can't see it anymore because I lined it up well. There is still room on the back to finish working out that spine roll. I just didn't want to take the chance pressing it twice in a row in such rapid succession, you know, you're moisturizing the book, you're pressing out that. You don't want to, I think it's stressful for a book, especially for an old book, to work a spine roll too hard, too aggressively. Take your time. I'm going to own this book for a long time. It will be in the next batch to CGC though. So it will get reworked again. But man, that I'm so pleased with what I spent for this, and of course the damage it had. To have it even looking this good is fantastic. I'm very, very happy with that. And I think if I can get that roll pushed back just a little bit more, it won't show some of those rusty staples so bad. So what do you think about that? So anyway, so that's it. That's the finished product, Planet Comics 44. Just a quick, you know, before and after video, really. And we'll catch you next time on BUB'S Comics. Remember to read a comic and don't apologize for the glare. Bye-bye.